We live in a world of rules and regulations that generally have us do what we are supposed to do rather than what we want to do. Well, in any case, we do need rules to avoid living in chaos, even if we don't like them at times. Education is a good example. The question is, who has authority over children, particularly when it comes to education? I intend to fully explain this someday, but for now, let's just say that the parents who have brought the children into the world would obviously have the responsibility to train, teach, and raise them, which is not possible if they do not have the God-given authority to do so in the first place. Suffice it to say that parents are given the legitimate authority for all things pertaining to children. While government may claim to have this authority, God has not given this authority. Simple logic should bring us to the understanding that God would not give children to parents and expect government to educate them. Had that been the case, most parents would have been more than happy to have deemed the potty training as a government responsibility. Once it is clear that parents have the God-given authority and responsibility to train, teach, and guide children into adulthood, it is important to note what has to be done to stay out of trouble with the government and its false claims. Too often people quote the "render unto Caesar" passage as license to give our children to the government. But once again, consider that God gave them to parents with no provision for handing off or abdicating the responsibility for raising them to others. The rules in Alberta are simple, yet complicated. I am not going to deny that there are ways one can simply ignore the government directives respecting the education of children, but sometimes it is easier to simply play along. Every child between the ages of 6 and 16 in Alberta must be registered to receive some kind of education. Parents have the option to enroll the students in a choice of schools, bring school home, or educate the children in a way that they see fit. Obviously, it is no burden, at least not at this time, to simply let the government know that the children are being educated by you at home in a way that you approve of. This allows the government to think that it has this authority while allowing you to exercise your God-given responsibility to train, teach, and guide your children in keeping with God's directives. It may appear to be a compromise to some, but giving government what they want, which is supposedly the desire to see all citizens get a quality education, while parents retain authority to do so, is not sin. Once understanding our place in this process, the question becomes, with whom will I register or notify? Alberta is unique in funding its home-educated students without jurisdictional boundaries. This means that students can be registered either with the local school board authority or with any willing non-resident one. I don't recommend registering or notifying with the local school board. The local school board system likely has little to no sympathy for or understanding of home education, and so will naturally direct parents and students back to school in one form or another. And not only do they believe that only schools can educate the children, but you need to understand that there is also a monetary incentive for doing so. Registering or notifying with a non-resident board provides far more choice and options. Once again, one must emphasize the importance of finding a board that will serve you rather than manipulate your allegiance to their own benefit. Willing non-resident boards can be public, separate, or private schools, but very few, if any, truly understand the heart of unschooling parents. It is also important to understand that since home education is funded in Alberta, money can become the primary focus, and not only for the home education providers, but perhaps even for the home educators. Money should be the last criteria for choosing which school authority to notify with. I have created a document that you may find helpful entitled Questions a Christian Home Educator Should Ask, which lists a number of considerations for everyone involved in home education, including the parents. You can find it on the Education Limited website by going to Resources and clicking on Home Education Guide and following through the steps provided to specifically address your present home education situation. Summarizing, don't simply believe what you're being told by potential home education providers. Knowing that your children come with money should alert you to go beyond the rhetoric. Go to their websites. Look into their history. Ask yourself, how has this board contributed to the long-term best interest of home education or the home education community? Consider the extent to which school-based philosophy and accreditation is actually being advanced by them. And make sure you will be and remain the authority. Otherwise, you will be brought right back to the school-based thinking you wanted to escape in the first place. Oh, and remember, just because a large number of people are doing something does not mean what they are doing is right or the best option for you. If you make an informed decision in keeping what is best for you, for your family's spiritual well-being, everything else will be added on to you.